We're going to hear on the aluminum and steel tariffs later as well in terms of these exemptions. We're waiting on an announcement as Peter Navarro suggested earlier. Joining us right now is former presidential candidate and Fox News contributor Herman Cain. Herman, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Your reaction to the new tariffs and restrictions coming on China?
The first thing I would suggest is everybody take a chill pill. This is how you get the Chinese to the table. We have been trying to play nice and said, would you please come to the table so we can talk? Well, when you impose a tariff, which I agree with others on your panel, it is a tax. This is how you get them to the table. This is how you have serious talks about leveling the playing field. But take a chill pill. The sky is not falling. We don't all know what's going to happen, but I think this is an excellent tactic to get people to the table to talk.
Herman, it's Dagan McDowell, though. It all goes back to us being in debt to the Chinese in terms of us as a nation needing them to continue buying our debt. And so we can talk as much as we want, but at the end of the day, when you have Republicans and Democrats in Washington passing a budget that's going to now send us into the territory of running $1 trillion deficits every year, you know what? Our talk is cheap. Our debt, more expensive.
Let me just, before you answer that, let me just say that we have news here. The House Freedom Caucus has now officially gone against the spending bill. So we got that. They are now pushing back and saying they will not vote for the spending bill. Please go ahead, Herman.
I agree with the Freedom Caucus. I would vote against it also. Secondly, since we're talking about the budget, if I were President Trump, I would shut the government down if that's what it took. Because here's what would happen. It would give us an opportunity, even though we know the media is going to lean one way, to show what's wrong with that budget. I agree. It's absolutely too much money. The Republicans are giving in to too much, and I believe the only way for the American people to know how bad some of the bad things in it is to shut the government down. Now, Dagan, you are exactly right. With the Chinese loaning us money, that gives them leverage. With the Chinese having a major surplus coming from the United States, we have a deficit. That gives them leverage. So we've got to establish some leverage. And in order to establish a leverage, sometimes you have to take risks. And I believe that this administration is taking some calculated risks in order to get them to the table.
Money talks and blah, blah, blah walks. That's all I have to say. That was me, that was me not using an expletive.
Dagan, I'm agreeing with you.
I know,
okay? I'm agreeing.
Yeah, I know, but she's switched.
That was my exclamation point, Herman. That's all.
Herman, James Freeman here at the Wall Street Journal. I wanted to get your thoughts on Joe Biden's approach to Donald Trump, potential 2020 rivals here. Biden's talking about how he would have beaten up Mr. Trump in high school, he claims. You know, you watched the last presidential go-round where a lot of people couldn't figure out how to deal with Donald Trump, didn't know how to respond. Do you think Biden is on the right track here?
It's not even worth talking about. Let's talk about the stock market. Let's talk about the lowest unemployment rate in a long, long time. Let's talk about the regulatory rollback. Let's talk about the fact that this economy is booming. Let's talk about the fact that in January, 16% more open jobs were there than a year ago. See, this is what I call a shift the subject tactic on the part of the Democrats. When they have nothing to talk about, they shift the subject. So what former Vice President Biden wants to do is to shift the subject to stuff that does not matter. And there will be no backyard brawl. And if it were, we know who would win. It's not even worth discussing. Let's talk about the substance. That's where I come down.
Well, look, President Trump responded to Joe Biden's remarks by a tweet this morning, and here's what he says, Herman. Crazy Joe Biden is trying to act like a tough guy. Actually, he is weak, both mentally and physically, and yet he threatens me. For the second time with physical assault. He does not know me, but he would go down fast and hard, crying all the way. Don't threaten people, Joe. So, you know, the president is right there. I mean, he's, you know, fighting back with the tweet. What do you think?
He's a counterpuncher.
So he's a counterpuncher.
He's a counterpuncher, and I think that his tweet says it all in terms of what would actually happen. But we all know that is not going to happen. So this is why I'm saying I don't even want to talk about it. Here's what I want to talk about. You know, when I mentioned the 16% more jobs, open jobs, were created in January, and only 2.3% of them were filled. Why? We have a skills gap. So, Joe Biden, talk about filling the skills gap. Okay? That's what we ought to be focusing on, getting people ready for this robust economy.
I just want to add that, make the suggestion that instead of one of the presidential debates in 2020, that we have like fisticuffs between the two candidates. Give all the money to charity. Yeah. Give it all. If Joe Biden's the nominee, give it all to cancer research. I guarantee you he'd do it.
A pay-per-view event.
Yeah, pay-per-view. Exactly.
Well, Dagan, for one thing, the ratings would be through the roof.
Yep.
But the American people won't learn a thing.
But is there anything? I mean, should we be worried about this, though? I mean, you've got the leader of the free world in a tweet storm with Joe Biden. I mean, should the average guy or gal out there say to themselves, well, what? Let's talk about important things, and why am I watching this take place here? Should we be worried about this kind of behavior?
Well, I would agree. This is why I say it's not even worth discussing at length, which is why I try to move on to talk about substance. I'm more concerned about this bad budget that they are about to pass, because the Republicans are scared to death that they are going to get blamed for it. And as I suggested, the president ought to veto it so the American people would have time to see all of the bad stuff in this budget. I understand the process, and this is why the Republicans are essentially caving. But the American people won't know all of the bad stuff to go along with the good stuff unless we shut it down for a while. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Thoughts?
No, I was just going to say a congratulatory call to Vladimir Putin is a little more disturbing than a potential fisticuffs talked about on Twitter.
Herman, good to see you, sir.
Protocol. Thank you.
Herman
Thank you very
Cain.
much.